Hello guys! Firstly, wish you all a very happy Onam. I hope you all have enjoyed your Onam and also are going to enjoy your dinner with nice sadhya. Today I enjoyed my sadhya from Thangabali. Oh, it just made my Onam festival all the more lovely. Hey Divij, hey Jenny, hey the wrong guy, and hey all the people out here to join us for the Chitter Chatter today. Well, our Chitter Chatter today is with Parag Kulkarni, the author of The Rebirth of Leelavati. It's a fictional book based on a lot of arithmetics, astronomy, and a lot more. There's a lot that I want to say, but because it's a fictional thriller, I cannot give in a lot. Hey Yogin, hey Bharat, hey everyone again, and I'm calling Parag because I have a lot of questions to ask him. So let's send him an invite and let's meet you Kare when he's already here. I'm doing very well. How are you all doing? How are you all celebrating Onam? And what book are you all reading? Hello, Parag. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm very good. Happy Onam to you.
Happy Onam to you, all of you who are watching this show.
Thank you for removing your time for a Chitter Chatter. And I have to say, I have read this book, and oh my god, having that kind of a backdrop where there is so much going on and mixing it with fiction, kudos to you. Like, this was an amazing fictional read that I've read in a very long time.
Thank you very much. I'm really humbled by that. Really humbled by that.
So tell me, how did the journey start to write this book? What was your process like?
So yeah, it started with my first book, but this is my second book. But then, first book was sort of ended at a place where I wanted to take these two protagonists to the next level in their story, and I wanted to bring more family-oriented drama and then bring more thriller part of it. So it was a mix of, because they have such a background, right? Vikram and Sindhu, they both have background where they have saved the world from nuclear disaster and blah blah blah, and then come back. Now they are liking each other, they're loving each other, they're living together. But what is next in that chapter? And while the next chapter starts with them, wanting to go away from that spy world, things are not like that. The past always catches up with you. So I wanted to bring that story where now they are living together, want to live a normal life away from the spy world, but things won't go like that. There is someone always watching. So then I mixed up the story, and I had this thought about ancient mathematics while I was doing research. I wanted to bring those factual knowledge of how much ancient Indian astronomy and mathematics was advanced. Somehow I wanted to bring it in the story because people have to know that. And there are some books who are there in the market, but they are like this bulky and not easily available on the market. So I wanted to bring it to more common people of what was the contribution of Indian astronomers and mathematicians to the real world.
So I have to just take a pause here and tell the viewers here that though this is a sequel of this protagonist further, but even if you've not read the first book, you can stand alone, pick this book and read it further. So don't hold yourselves back. Please go ahead and buy this book, and then you can always read the first one to know more that what was their past like. But you can definitely pick this and start right away.
Yes, absolutely. It has been in such a way that it stands on its own. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Also, I have to tell you, I am somebody who becomes Tare Zameen Par the moment the numbers come. It's like, the moment I know it's maths, I'm like, what just happened? Like, as if I'm suffering from some issue, and I call myself Tare Zameen Par when it comes to that. So when I got your book and I read the blurb, I said, oh my God, math is involved here. Like, will I be able to be with it? But the way you have used the narration, and it's so well written, that for once I have liked maths and the history of arithmetics in the book.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. But yes, I wanted to bring it in such a way that we should not be scared of maths, because it's there from the beginning of India, and Indians are good with mathematics. So yes, there have been challenges with some children wanting to difficulty in understanding the mathematics, not just because of the situation of Tare Zameen Par, which was kind of a dyslexic situation for the boy who was intelligent, very very smart, and he could do all of that in his head. He just had trouble reading and writing. But then there are a lot of kids, and including myself, I was very poor in mathematics up to 7th grade. And then when sir and teacher came in my life, his name is Narari sir, he came in my life and he changed my perception of mathematics, and since then there was no looking back.
Being a software architect, your hobby is literature and maths and astronomy and a lot more, and we can see all of that reflecting in your books. But how did you decide that, okay, you know what, I want to be disciplined enough, I want to write a story? How did that journey start of writing?
Very, very couple of blogs that I had written and I had shared with my friends, and they were like, Parag, you can write. I mean, come on. And this was way back in 2013-14 when I had just started to figure out. Till that point, I was a cyber person. I did write some memoirs, but that is in my diary, which nobody sees. So then the thought came when some of my friends, including my wife, she said, you have written something interesting. Why don't you start writing books? So that sort of triggered it, and then it worked out. Yes, it requires some discipline. Yeah, so you pointed out correctly. It's not like so I have to balance my life, my family, my work life, but I do take out 1 hour per day. It doesn't take too much. If you know what you want to do, just 1 hour per day is more than sufficient, I think, to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
But your book, besides being a fiction, also has a lot of research involved because
Yeah.
you can't go wrong there. Like you can't
Yeah.
take too much liberty also beyond a point.
Right.
So how was it like? Was the research consciously done, or it was like you were already on that path to know a lot of things and then suddenly you thought, okay, let me combine both the things?
It was a little bit of both. I did have my college to thank to, because in college days I got a lot of time to study, research, and in my libraries. And people used to call me library boy because I was always in library. Until that point, it was very difficult for me. But then I did some research in the Indira Gandhi Center for Nuclear Research at Chennai. I got some good idea about nuclear science, and I got to know some real scientists. I met some real scientists, and I saw the way they were looking and working. Okay, so yes, the journey of study was there little bit, but for this particular book I had no background. I actually went to a couple of places in Pune, Ayuka being one of them, and the Bhaskaracharya Pratishthan being another, where I met the professors there. I asked them questions about Bhaskaracharya, about ancient mathematicians, and they were able to help me out, because till that point it was just a thought and idea that let me write something about ancient mathematicians and bring that story to the forefront of the world. But I had no idea what they were, and there is very little knowledge available on the internet also. If you look at it, you won't find it. So I had to actually go, and I was lucky enough to find one book which I got from Bhaskaracharya Pratishthan. They gave me this book. You can't find this book on the internet or anywhere else. This book contains a lot of Sanskrit verses about Bhaskaracharya, how he wrote mathematical problem in Sanskrit language. Can you believe that? In a poetic fashion. Mathematics and poetry, I don't think anybody can correlate them. But
I
he
can't
has done.
imagine when you're saying it that something like this can happen. Like Sanskrit and maths is already too much, and then
Yeah.
it's in the poetic form. It's like just too much to even believe.
Yeah. So when I was in 8th grade, right, we were learning something called Subhashit Mala. They were like the Sanskrit verses with, Ya Kundrendu, Tushara, Dhavala, those Saraswati Puja that we used to do. Take that and add a mathematical component to it, which talks about Pythagoras Theorem, which talks about a problem in mathematics that was used by ancient students, and until as late as British people, when British people came to India, until that point, all the academic math was taught by Bhaskaracharya's books.
Oh.
Yes, I mean, see, it's not like because British Indian came, we started learning mathematics, right? It was not like that. It was much before that. We had a lot of our own problems to solve, and we used these ancient texts, mathematical texts, to solve those problems. It had Pythagorean, it has quadratic equations, it has calculus, and those things that we dreadful of, they are there.
So, you have this setup in the book, which is ideally a setup that I think every educational institution should follow. It's like something that, is really very realistic. So, is it like your dream to have something like that in life? Like, how did you
Sort
decide
of.
to have that kind of a setup?
Sort of. So I run my own small astronomy club, where I invite small students to my place, or I go to their schools and I teach them about astronomy, about stars and planets. So I thought of taking it to the next level. It's not like I have a huge setup at home, but I wanted to use that creativity to bring this Sindhu, who now sets up a very big astronomy club in Pune city, which has this lavish background, and she has a radio astronomical telescope. She has not, but she also needs a lot of funding. She needs a lot of things to do that. So all of that was my own dream. So I sort of put that into the book. If something I cannot achieve myself, let the book achieve it. Things like that.
Like
So,
they always say na, that be careful of a writer. If you have any problems with them, they might just put you in the book and kill it. Exactly what you've done.
now
Dream
you're
you,
opening some secrets.
the dream you wanted to achieve, you put it in the book and partially achieved it.
Yes. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm glad I could do that. Yeah.
When you're writing a fictional book and you're having a research thing, also something like this to make your readers believe that it is a realistic world, because it's a fictional world, but you need to come across so strongly because your readers need to believe that this world exists.
Mhm.
How does that journey happen?
So I start with something called characterization, and I think a lot of we know that, right? We like a movie, we like a book because the characters are relatable. You when you read about them, you like, okay, has it happened with me? Maybe it's something. Even if the story or plot might be different, but the emotions that they go through are as human, as real as a real person, right? So I invested a lot of time in characterization, character building of, especially of Sindhu and Vikram and Dia including, and there are a few other characters also, right? So I invested more time in building those characters. That's why initially the books looks little like less spacey, but then over a period of time, then it catches the pace.
I'm
But
going to pause here. He's trying to be modest. It wasn't less pacey at all. When I started reading the book, I was like, okay, what's going on? And even the research that you've put in is put in so well that I did not feel at any point that it was a theory book anywhere. So
yeah.
you can continue, but I had to correct my
Yes,
viewers.
no, thank you. And some of my friends did tell me that, sometimes when I'm talking about my book, I'm getting dragged on. One of my friends said, no, Parag, this was he finished in 2 days, like 2 nights, not even 2 days. And oh, fantastic.
Exactly what me.
So you hold the record now. So yeah, thank you.
So yeah, please continue.
Yes. So no. So I was talking about characterization, right? So character building is more, you have to build those characters in such a way that you can relate. So all of these characters in the book, are someone who you want to relate to. You want to have that connection, and that's probably why it has worked so far. I mean, the book is doing really well. One of the reasons maybe because of a lot of character building that I was able to do. So thank you for that. Thank you to readers who were able to understand what I was doing.
When is the next one coming? Because you've again left questioning a
Yeah. So
lot more after
yeah,
this.
so there is an interesting development that's happening. Okay, while my first book was like sort of self-published and that was not very popular, Suhail Mathur, who is our bookmakers agency, and my friend and my agent, he has taken it to himself to kind of republish my first book as a prequel to this book, so that the new readers who probably are not very much familiar with it would get familiar with it. I want to draw that inspiration, from Dan Brown, whose second book, like Da Vinci Code, his fourth book actually, was more popular than the third book, Angels and Demons. But it became more popular after the Da Vinci Code was released, because people started noticing, and then they realized that it's a prequel. There is a prequel to this book. So Suhail has taken it to himself to do that. So that will be released very soon, maybe next few months. I don't know. We will work it out, maybe a year. But the third part of this book, the Peacemaker Strategy, I'm calling it, the third part of the book, I've already started writing it. The plot is there. Hopefully, in a couple of years, it will come out. With God's grace and Suhail's help.
Patiently waiting, but you very impatiently write on it because we don't want to long
I
for
will
it.
try to, yeah. With
How is
everything
it
else,
working with Suhail and the book bakers?
it is fantastic. Like I said, right, he's more than a friend, and he has always, I don't know how he does that, and I've mentioned it a couple of times previously also. He has 600 authors to look out for, and if you're talking to him, you won't feel like he's having 600 and 599 other authors who are looking for him. So he will always give you that personal time. And not only him, Sumedha also, and rest of the big book agency, they give a lot of personal time to you if you are looking for, and they're always available. I mean, I don't know, 24/7, I guess, because at night 2 o'clock they will respond, morning 10 o'clock they will respond. And what is going on? So it is deeply personal. It feels family, family like all the big bookers authors. Suhail has created a group in such a way that everybody helps everybody else. So Suhail has become that symbol for us, where we can look up to him and we can fall on him like something is going wrong or challenging. It's so amazing experience. Yeah.
Wow. What was the writing experience? Was it energizing? Was it exhausting?
Rejuvenating, I would say, because you can say, right, there is a work life balance, there are challenges in the work, and you have to take care of family and everything else. So that 1 hour when I take out, it feels like I'm charging my battery, because then I forget about everything else that's going on. I can just focus on that 1 hour. It is like the most siloed hour that I can think of. Nobody else knows where I am, what I'm doing, what I'm writing. I find some time somewhere, and it is kind of charging my battery. It helps me, focus on rest of the things that I need to.
So that charging battery, yet every writer comes through a writer's block. How do you overcome?
Yeah. So when that happens, right, I just put it out away. I hug my son. I play with him. I spend time with my family. I focus on work. Something else. If I'm having a writer's block, it's only because somewhere in the story plot, characters are not moving forward or something, right? The character is like that. So if I think too much about it, I won't be able to get past the block. So I just forget it for a few days and then come back to it. After that, suddenly I would have sometimes in the dream also, I suddenly find motivation to, okay, maybe something like this can happen next, and then it happens.
So, Parag, which is your favorite part of the book?
My favorite part of the book is Dia, who is the little girl, and she has she started to discover that she can talk very well. She can talk about scientific events that are happening. So she creates a YouTube blog. So it's basically Sindhu who does that blog, but Dia is the front face poster child of that. And the way I have written it in such a way that I've imagined my son there, because my son does the same. My son has a YouTube channel who talks about science and mathematics, whatever he wants to talk about. So I drew some inspiration from that, and I wrote one chapter which is dedicated to Dia discovering herself as a as a scientifically oriented orator. So I like that part. I mean, of course, there are other parts which are more emotional or even thrilling parts. Some of them are related to Rod, who's a antagonist character, and he is really trying to get into head of Sindhu, trying to manipulate her and destroy her. So that part is also, I was very passionate to write that, because it brings out that evil from that one. He's the only antagonist in the book, but I wanted to bring him out in such a way that everybody else is kind of looking to stop him from doing that, but they cannot. It's like that.
If I may ask you, what was the most difficult part while writing this novel?
I think there's a character called Rajguru who's writing a letter to Sindhu, and he's dying. He's basically having mad cow disease, and he's losing his memory. So while he's typing, he wants to do a lot of things. He wants to tell his emotions. He's like a father figure to her, and he writes a letter to her in which he reveals a lot of things that are revealed to the reader also, right? It's halfway the book when a lot of things we don't know what's happening. We just know bits and pieces. So that was the hardest for me to write, because he's dying. He's writing a final letter to Sindhu, knowing that he's not able to meet her or Dia. That was the hardest part for me to write.
When you got your copy of the novel and it was all set to go out, what were your emotions that day?
It was like finally, right, dream come true, because I had not imagined how it would turn out initially. Although I had Suhail Mathur to thank to, he always supported, saying that don't worry, ho jayega. I was more anxious for my first, because it was self-published and I had very little understanding of literary word other than my own writing. But second book, I had a lot of support from Suhail, and also from Loxley Hall, who were finally selected my book for writing. So I was less anxious. I knew that things are going to be good, because I had a support base. Now a lot of people had read my first book. They wanted to read my second book, and all this new support that I got, it was very peaceful. When it came out, like finally, I can put my mind to rest. That okay, that things will be good from here onward.
Going very good here onwards, because we are seeing all the reviews that are coming up. We keep seeing you go live. We keep hearing you, and I've read the book too. So I know for a fact things are going good. How are you taking the reviews that are coming your way?
They're good. some of them, the Amazon reviews are really good, but I like a couple of the personal reviews that actually people call me or messaged me giving those reviews, right? Because those are like, they are not for the world, they are like for me. And some of them are very sweet, as in one of my friend who is, who I called another friend, and he and his wife and the other person, his wife, they were all together for celebrating some occasion, but they came across my book and they read it together, they read the
Wow.
book together, and they were like reading chapters, and each chapter they were discussing, because a lot of science and mathematics is there in the book, right? So they were discussing, okay, what do we mean by this, or what do you mean by that? And they finally called me and messaged me and told me that, Parag, we read your book together, and it was like a group study thing, And I was like, oh my god! I mean, they were really, they were like, it's a masterpiece, and we were, and they finished it in one whole day. I mean, they were all together since morning to evening, and they all read together and they finished the book together. It was the
Wow.
best thing for me. It was like, oh my
Your
god, that's like, yeah.
first time on a Chitter Chat, and what an experience.
So yeah, I felt good. I mean, all other reviews bearing, they are all, methodical reviews. They are talking about, how the book is written well and all that. Narration is good, but this is more personal. This is much more emotional for me. So thank you to those my friends, and to you for bringing out this topic.
How long did it take for you to write this particular book?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I started writing sometime in 2017, I guess. 16, maybe halfway 16, 17, 18. By 18, it took 3 years, because from 19 onward, the publication process started. Although I had to rewrite it a little bit, and Suhail said, भैया तेरा बुक इतना बड़ा हो जाएगा, कोई पढ़ेगा नहीं, या फिर बहुत बड़ा प्राइसी हो जाएगा, तो थोड़ा कम कर दे, let's reduce it, cut it down, So I have this director's cut version which is huge, but then I have this published version which is slightly smaller and more concise and precise. So yeah, it took me some time to do that. Finally, it came out.
So tell us something that was cut from the director's version for a viewers here who have loved the book and like some
Yeah,
secrets not in
yeah,
this.
for sure. So there is this Sadhna and Gagan's character. Gagan is a small boy who is dyslexic, like Tari Zamin Par, right? And his mother, who is a daughter of a very big industrialist, and she is going through her own struggles because she doesn't have a husband, and she's raising this kid on her own. And it's a male-oriented family. This
Yeah.
is a male-oriented family. She is the only female person who is doing something for the business. All other females in the family are only acting as their home housewives. So she's the only one who is going out, but she's also getting a lot of resistance from the big family, right? So I had written a very big part of how this came out to be. And the grandfathers, how they started the business, and why it was male dominated family, and how did then Sadhana became female oriented person, and she wanted to not dominate, but at least make her presence in the family. Being a woman, being a single mother, she is going through her own challenges. Plus, Gagan is dyslexic and he's not into studies, and so she's now contemplating on getting him into the Sindhu's club, right? Because that's one of the premise. So I directly had to jump to that and cut off the previous build up. Other than that, there are a few places where I had to cut out a few other things, but that was the main thing.
If we have to make this into a movie, who is it that you can imagine as the characters?
Oh my god, that's a tough question. I haven't imagined that much, but I don't know. Rajkumar Rao comes to my mind.
I think you did it perfectly well.
And Deepika comes to my mind when it comes to Sindhu. For Dia, she's small, 10-year-old, so I'm not sure. But uh, for Rod, I don't know. That's a tough choice, because a villainous role, but antagonist role, I'm not yet given a thought, but we'll think. But yeah, these are the people who come to my mind, I guess.
If you have to decide of releasing the director's version and give it a different title, what would that be?
So good question. Very, very. So initially, when I started writing this book, Rebirth of Leelavati was not the title, working title. It was called Ambivalence of Sorts. And why ambivalence of sorts, right? Because the reader as well as the characters go through this ambivalent feeling throughout the book, because some things are really good, some things are not going good in the book, and in the end, it is actually ambivalent situation, because you don't know whether to cry or be hopeful about the future. because both of these happens. Tragedy happens as well as there is ray of hope in the book. So and also there's a lot of thing about whether science can play a bigger role in the world than religion, because science can take you to places where religion cannot, and then religion can take us to places to science cannot. And so I have created a mixed feeling towards the end, which so I had kept ambivalence of sorts as the title. I would like to keep that, but when we were discussing with Suhail, he's like, Parag, ye kisi ko samjhega nahi, let's come up with more catchy title, something that can relate to, and come up with something. So I came up with 7 or 8 choices, of what would be the best, and Rebirth of Leelavati became, and then I started liking much more. I mean, initially I was like apprehensive about it, but now I feel like Rebirth of Leelavati is really apt. But if I have to go for director's cut, it would be ambivalence of sorts.
Now we are going to play a little fun chitter chatter before we end this chitter chatter. So a quick question answer round, and whatever comes to your mind first. What is your favorite genre to read?
Fiction.
Favorite series that you've read?
Favorite?
Series that you've read?
Oh, Dan Brown's.
If you had to today go and meet an author, who would that be?
I would like to meet Ayn Rand. I know she's no more, but I would like to meet her.
Yeah, it's anyways you can meet. We've given you that wish, so it's perfect.
She's my role model author. Yeah.
A book that has stayed with you forever?
Fountainhead.
Ebooks, audiobooks, or paperback?
Paperback.
Favorite book all time where you even today go back when you need some insights?
Atlas Shrugged.
Any book that you feel is something that you want to gift besides the Rebirth of Leelavati?
To someone. Yeah. It would be, I think I just read Project B3087, which is about a boy who survived the Holocaust of Jews in German, Alan Gratz. I would like to give it to anybody because it's a story of survival.
How did you get into reading?
My college days. Until that time, I didn't even know the difference between novel and magazine, for that matter, and I was ragged for that. Then in college days, I decided to study and read books. So that's why.
Do you judge a book by its cover?
No.
Do you leave books in half?
Never. What is your favorite thing to drink while you're reading? Very interesting. I generally drink lemon water because it feels, but lemon water, yes.
What is your favorite thing to, favorite time to read?
Favorite time to read? At night.
Favorite write? Favorite write?
No, I'm missing that. I don't know why.
Favorite time to write?
Write. Yeah, late night.
Favorite?
Late night, everybody's sleeping.
Oh, very nice. So it's the night time. You're an owl. Whether reading or writing, it's the night.
It is night. It is night, yes.
Favorite thing to drink while you are writing?
Lemon water.
What is your favorite top 5 books?
Oh, yes. Wings of Fire by, APJ Abdul Kalam. There is a book called India Unbound by Guru Charan Das. Then Atlas Shrugged by, Ayn Rand, Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, and Angels and Demons.
What are you currently reading?
I'm reading Ground Zero by Alan Gratz, which is about this 9/11 survival story of 9/11.
What you last read?
Last I read was, I think it was Frederick Forsyth's book, Devil's Alternative.
What are you going to futurely read?
I want to read. I'm actually started to read this, Elon Musk's book. It's a non-fiction. It's about life of Elon Musk and how he came out to be what he is. So I'm going to read that next.
And my last question: what do you want to tell your viewers about buying the Rebirth of Leelavati?
Well, yes, I think go ahead and buy it. And for the special, I would like to say this: whoever buys today, I would give them $200 Amazon gift card. Whoever buys today.
Now, viewers, you can't miss it, and if you think your friends should also get it, tag them right now so that afterwards they can go and buy. Because this chat is going to be on our IGTV and Spotify and YouTube. So make the most of it today. Your time starts now till tomorrow 7:30. You can get and win this gift card. So go right away and buy the Rebirth of Leelavati. And even if you bought, buy again to get the gift card. So thank you, Parag, for this lovely thing for the viewers. I'm sure they'll be really happy. And thank you for your time for the Chitter Chatter. It was great having you here. And we're looking forward for many more books and many more chit chats.
Thank you very much for having me here, and I've loved talking to you, Shweta.
And if you have your book around, maybe we can take a snapshot if by chance you have your book around.
Yeah, unfortunately no, because I'm in US, right? So I got a very limited copies, and they were all gone by the time I came.
Okay,
So
maybe I'll just take our snapshot. So smile. All right, I have captured our moment, and thank you for the chitter chatter. And see you soon. And happy reading and happy writing.
thank you very much.
Viewers are happy winning the gift card. Don't lose. So Rebirth of Leelavati it is. Thank you. See you soon.
See you. Bye.